Hey vinyl community, this is Glenn, your low-end music freak. This is a contest entry. This contest was put on by Black Star Vinyl. It's called the No Frills contest. Kind of celebrating 3 years of videos. I was just turned on to your channel by Rachel, the music ma'am. She entered a video in the contest and I watched that and then subbed your channel. Watched this video when you introduced the contest, which was pretty cool. You seem like a really cool guy. I'm looking forward to watching future videos and getting to know your channel better. Thank you very much for putting on the contest. So Joe had 3 parts to the contest. I love the first part. Put together a music team. It's almost like a sports team. We've all got positions, and there was 5 vocalists, 5 bassists, 5 guitarists, 5 drummers, and 5 utility players. I love this. I can hardly wait to let you guys know what I picked. The second one was 5 albums that have certain emotions attached, whether that be happy or sad or angry, whatever. And the third one was there's a crayon being introduced in your honor, and you have to name it. I thought that was kind of cool. It's kind of funny. Anyway, let's get started with my music team. First of all, the vocalists. The greatest vocalist of all time, Ray Charles, is #1 vocalist. The next vocalist, who I know Ray was his hero and kind of, has a similar style, Greg Allman. So we got a real soulful start on this one. The next one, Gary Brooker from Procol Harum. After that, I've got 2 female singers, Nora Jones, who is my favorite female vocalist, and Mavis Staples, who's just a legend. We are going to go next to guitar players. The first one I picked is my favorite guitar player of all time, Ry Cooder. Second, Duane Allman. Third, Jerry Garcia. So they're my top 3 guitarists ever anyway, so they're all in there. The great child prodigy, Shuggy Otis. Just an amazing blues player. And how could you leave Jimi Hendrix out of a band when you're looking for 5 guitar players? So Ry Cooder, Duane Allman, Jerry Rice, Shuggy Otis, Jimi Hendrix. Next, the bassists. I play bass guitar, so this one was kind of a cool one for me. The guy I consider the greatest, most influential bass player of all time when it comes to pop music, James Jamerson. If you're not familiar with Mr. Jamerson, you've heard him play, I guarantee it, on a million different records. He was part of the Funk Brothers, the studio band at Motown. He's been on Marvin Gaye records and 4 Top records and the Supremes and Michael Jackson and the Jackson 5, and you just name a Motown artist that had a hit on the radio, and I can pretty much guarantee you that Mr. Jamerson was the bass player. So we're starting with him. Next, the incredible Victor Wooten. I don't know if any of you are familiar with Victor. I discovered Victor with Bela Fleck and the Flecktones. Victor's just an incredible musician, maybe the best bass player on the frickin' planet. Terrific guy. I have had a chance to chat with him a couple of times at Flecktone shows. Just the nicest guy on the planet. He puts on a lot of bass camps and stuff for any musicians who want to come and learn from him. Just a great bass player. When they used to do like the Playboy Jazz polls and things like that, I don't know if they still do that. Victor was won that poll quite a few times. He's just a great musician. Next, Jack Bruce. Probably my favorite of the British blues explosion there in the late 90s. Jack Bruce, just a great guitar player. Next, my second favorite guitar player next to Jamerson is Tony Levin. Tony's currently playing with King Crimson. I've gotten a chance to see King Crimson live a couple times over the last few years, and he's just a monster bass player. He has a great resume. He's played with John Lennon. He tours with Peter Gabriel. If you looked up his website and looked at all the work he's done, it's phenomenal. Tony's just a wonderful player. Last, Paul McCartney. Now, if you listen to Paul's playing, you can tell he learned a lot from James Jamerson. Paul's playing is very similar, very melodic. I've always heard, I'm not sure if this was, done 100% of the time, but I know a lot of times Paul would lay the bass tracks down on the Beatles songs last, not first. Normally you would get, bass and drums and work from there, and Paul always waited till the end, and that's why he came up with so many great bass lines, and his bass playing is just phenomenal. If you listen, especially in Sgt. Pepper's, I just love the playing on that album. Abbey Road as well. Just an amazing. I don't think he gets enough credit as being a great bass player. Drummers. I'm starting with Ginger Baker because Ginger Baker is the greatest live drummer I ever saw. I saw Cream in 1968 at Massey Hall, and I still vividly remember watching him. It just is entrenched in my mind watching him play. One of the concert experiences that you just don't forget. I was fortunate enough to see the big three, John Bonham, Keith Moon, and Ginger Baker, and I think Ginger blew them all away. Not that those other two guys weren't phenomenal, but he's head and shoulders my favorite. Next, we got to have somebody laying down the foundation. So, Jim Keltner. Jim has quite a resume as well. I mean, he's played with everyone. John Lennon. He played in the Wilburys. I saw him with the Ringo Starr All-Star Band, the first band All-Star Band tour. I'm sure you could go on and on talking about the albums that Jim Keltner's been on. We're going to have another guy just keeping the beat, Ringo Starr. A lot of people slam Ringo. I think Ringo is a great drummer. I think people try and compare Ringo to, the drummers like Ginger Baker and John Bonham, but the Beatles weren't that kind of band. Ringo played the way he needed to play to be effective in that band, and I don't think anybody else could have done what Ringo did. Listen to Rain, listen to the Frills in A Day in the Life. Ringo is a really solid drummer. Next, Bill Bruford. Bill Bruford's a monster drummer. Played in Yes, played in King Crimson. I think he had his own solo albums out. Just a phenomenal musician. Last, the second best drummer I ever saw live, Zakir Hussain, the tabla player. I saw Zakir in Toronto at the Corner, I forget what the name of the place is, Corner Music Hall. It's on Bloor Street. It's part of the University of Toronto. It was Bela Fleck, Edgar Meyer, and Zakir Hussain. I had front row seats. I've never seen anybody play anything like this guy played. He is a phenomenal musician, just incredible. One of the great percussionists that ever lived. So that's my 5 drummers. You got to have some utility players just in case someone breaks a nail. So I'm going with Diana Krall on piano. She can do some backup vocals too if she wants. Love Diana Krall. I think she's an amazing jazz musician. Have most of her catalog, and I'm a big fan. Next, Ravi Shankar. I don't know how Ravi going to fit in with Duane Allman and Jimi Hendrix. This is going to be fun to watch. We'll see what he can add. I think if we can get them going on a jam like East West from Paul Butterfield or something, I think that could be pretty cool. Next, one of the great multi-instrumentalists, great vocal, David Hidalgo from Los Lobos. David's just a phenomenal singer and a great musician. I think him and Ry Cooder will fit in very well together. I know they've recorded together before. We need some good backup rhythm player just in case something goes wrong here. How about throwing Keith Richards on the utility bench? Not a bad guitarist himself. So we'll use Keith. And last, Steve Winwood. I mean, he can play guitar, he can play keyboards, and just listen to his work backing up Hendrix on Electric Ladyland. all the work he did with Traffic and his solo albums. You can't go wrong with Steve Winwood as a utility guy. So that's my music team. I think we're going to kick everybody's ass and win the championship. Next, albums that emote or give you emotions, or I don't know how to say that, but we're gonna try here. First, Happy. Let's go Happy. The only thing that makes me happy in the world, not the only thing, but the one thing that always makes me happy in the world, the Beatles. I just picked Rubber Soul because it was the first one I saw on the shelf. You can't go wrong. I can listen to the Beatles all day long. They always make me happy. Next, sad. What makes me sad? Well, how about this? This makes me very sad. John Lennon, Double Fantasy. Just because of what happened, the events of December 8th, 1980, and this album just being released. It's hard when you see this album to not think of that tragic night. I think any Beatles fans will, that always haunts us, and it's always sad. It's always a sad time, December 8th. John was such an amazing guy. I imagine if he was still with us, I would love to hear what he would have to say about what's going on today and on the streets and whatever. We could sure use his leadership right now. John Lennon. Angry. John Prine. John Prine's music doesn't make me angry. It makes me very happy. But what makes me angry is this friggin' virus that took his life. Love John Prine. That's so sad. Romantic. I've shown this one before in another contest where the questions were somewhat similar on this question. Grover Washington's Wine Light. This is a great jazz sax album. It also has the incredible vocal from Bill Withers on Just the Two of Us. If you're looking for some romantic music, this is a killer album. Love it. It's one of the first albums that really got me going on jazz, actually, was this album, even though it's kind of a soft jazz album. And finally, what makes me jealous? So I've been playing 5-string banjo for 40-some years, started kind of in the mid-70s. What makes me jealous is all the hours and years I've put in, and I've reached whatever level of proficiency I've reached, and then I listen to this gentleman, Bela Fleck. I think this guy was born a genius musician. Bela chose the banjo, but I think Bela could have played any instrument on the planet and played it incredibly well. He is such a phenomenal musician. This album is called Perpetual Motion. It's his classical music album. It's incredible. Classical music banjo album. If you're looking for something a little different, just beautiful sounding record, this is it. Bela Fleck makes me really jealous of his talent. Okay, we're on to question number 3. This is the humorous one. Name a crayon color that's named after you, or name a crayon color that resembles you or something. So, let me tell you something a little bit about myself. I hate the heat. I hate the cold. I hate bugs. I hate eating outside. I pretty much hate being outside, even though I love obviously when you go out and it's just, it's gorgeous surroundings and whatever, and we have a beautiful home, and to sit out on the deck is nice, but to tell you the truth, I am the most happiest person on earth when I'm in my basement. I could spend probably the rest of my life in my basement and would not consider it a waste of time. I just love having all my stuff around me, my stereo, my music, my instruments, books, TV, whatever. I'm just a real homebody, and I love my basement. So I thought, what can I name my crayon? And I thought, Basement Tan. I have a Basement Tan. So it's going to be a light brown colored crayon called Basement Tan. So anyway, I want to thank you, Joe, for putting on this contest. It was a lot of fun, this one, actually. I really loved that question about the music team. That was very inventive. I'm really looking forward to watching more of your channel. Great success. Congratulations, and we'll talk soon. Thank you.